This is part 3 of the Spokane Falls and Northern historical simulation in 1902. We'll cover the Columbia and Red Mountain Railway frontier to Northport and the Spokane Falls and Northern Railway boundary to Marcus. The Columbia and Red Mountain Railway history 1896 to 1902. In 1896, the Colville Indian Reservation was open to prospectors. In 1896, the Columbia and Red Mountain Railway built from Northport to Frontier using a ferry. In 1897, the Columbia River Bridge was completed. In 1898, the Leroy smelter was blown in. Also, the smelter was sold to the British America Company that year. In 1899, the Great Northern purchased the Columbia and Red Mountain Railway from the Northern Pacific. Frontier is the border crossing on the U.S.-Canadian border, and it follows the Big Sheep Creek to Northport, which is roughly 8.4 miles, crossing the Columbia River. This view is actually of the Big Sheep Creek Falls, which was a tourist attraction in the valley. Here we have train number 257, the Rossland to Northport passenger train, going downhill, crossing the Big Sheep Creek trestle in the background and descending on a 2.7% grade through the canyon to Northport. This is a view of train number 257, the Rossland to Northport passenger, heading south across the Columbia River Bridge at Northport. The bridge was 1,200 feet long and was very high to allow stern wheelers to pass under. In fact, no stern wheelers ever passed under, as Northport became the southern terminus for any of the stern wheelers on the Columbia River. Northport history 1892 to 1902. In 1892, Daniel Corbin established Northport, and the Spokane Falls and Northern arrived from Little Delhi's. In 1894, a wagon road and ferry for hauling Rossland ores were established. And in 1894, the Great Flood, with water 70 feet above low water level, washed away most of the town. In 1895, became an international point of entry. In 1898, the Leroy smelter was blown in. In 1899, the Deep Creek Dam delivered electricity. In 1900, the population was about 800 people. The Spokane Falls and Northern follows the Columbia River from Boundary, which is the border crossing for the U.S.-Canada, to Northport, which is about 10.9 miles. This is an aerial simulation of the Leroy smelter and the town of Northport. You'll notice the smelter, all the smoke on the ground. That's because the ore was burned on the ground in the open for 2 to 3 months to roast it, creating a lot of pollution in this valley. The smelter produced copper matte that was shipped to smelters throughout the U.S. This was the main Spokane Falls and Northern rail yard. So we have the 3-stall engine house, we have the sanding tower, we have the coal bunkers, we have the Y here. Into town, we also have a material yard for the Spokane Falls and Northern. The freight house is there, then we have the station and a small yard as we head south out of Northport. Train number 257, the Rossland to Northport passenger train, has crossed the Columbia River Bridge. It has gone through the Red Mountain Y onto the main Spokane Falls and Northern tracks, and it backs into the Northport yard. The train will back into the Northport station for a 12:05 arrival and terminates at the station. The passenger cars will be picked up by train number 255 southbound, heading from Nelson to Spokane. You can also see the yard with the freight cars for the Northport smelter sitting to the left. Train number 255 in Nelson to Spokane passenger train is now entering Northport, arriving from Boundary on the U.S.-Canada border. We're passing the Leroy smelter and we'll be stopping for water here at Northport. Number 255 has now taken on water, passing the engine facilities, the sand, and the coal bunkers, and the Y that served the whole Spokane Falls and Northern route in 1982. Spokane Falls and Northern engine number 5 has uncoupled from the passenger trains and is taking on coal at Northport. We're 70 miles from Nelson, and we have 68 miles to the next coaling station at Chewelah. Train number 255 South is arriving at the Northport station at 12:25 p.m. You'll notice that there is the USA Border Inspection Station located just north of the station with the American flag. We will load passengers at Northport and then continue. Number 255 has now cleared the station on the main line. On the siding, we actually have train number 702 from Spokane to Northport Freight, led by engine number 118460, entering the yard from Marcus, and it will terminate here at Northport. Train number 255 South will now couple onto the Rosslyn Combine and coach cars, and then we'll continue on to Spokane via Marcus, heading south. We'll now travel from Northport to Marcus, which is 28.2 miles. We follow the Columbia River heading southwest. We'll touch base to go through Little Delis. We'll go through Marble. We'll go through Williams, through Bossburg, and we will arrive at Marcus. Train number 255 is departing Northport, heading southbound for Marcus at 12:35 p.m. You'll notice the Northport business section is close to the trackage, as this was designed by Daniel Corbin. As we head south out of the yard, we will pass through the Red Mountain Y, which takes us up to Rosslyn. Number 255 is passing through Little Delis, which was the end point of the Spokane Falls and Northern until 1892. This is where the passengers would have transferred to the Kootenai Steamship Company stern wheelers for traveling north on the Columbia River, 2 points north, all the way up to Revelstoke, BC. This is no longer a timetable stop. Train number 255 is entering the Marble flag stop at 12:58 p.m. Marble had a siding and a track gang. In later years, Marble is where most of the marble rock to build the buildings in Spokane was quarried and shipped to Spokane from. Number 255 is arriving at the Williams flag stop and will depart at 1:09 p.m. Williams had a limestone quarry that shipped the limestone to the trail in the Northport smelters. Limestone was used as a flux that helped in the roasting of the ores and making sure that the whole smelting process was efficient. Number 255 is entering the Bossburg station and will depart at 1:21 p.m. Bossburg had a population of approximately 800 people. There were 2 silver mines, there was a sawmill, and this was where the ferry across the Columbia River to go to the areas of Grand Forks was located prior to the Washington Great Northern Railway being created in 1902. Marcus history, 1863 to 1902. In 1863, Marcus was settled by Marcus Oppenheimer above the Kettle Falls. In 1865, the steamboat 49 was built and served Marcus to the Little Delhies. In 1890, the Spokane Falls and Northern built through Marcus to Little Delhies. In 1900, the population was approximately 400 people. In 1902, the Washington and Great Northern Railway connected at Marcus. Washington and Great Northern Railway train number 259, the Republic to Marcus first-class passenger train, is just entering the Columbia River Bridge at Marcus. The Washington and Great Northern Railway was built from Marcus to Republic in 1902. The Columbia River Bridge here, you will notice, is at water level because just south of this point is the Kettle Falls, which was unpassable by steamships. Washington and Great Northern train number 259 terminates at the Marcus station as per employee timetable number 19 at 1:15 p.m. Passengers will transfer to the SF&N number 255 traveling south or SF&N number 256 traveling north at Marcus. You'll notice in this view I've left the switch stand arrows showing visibly so you can tell how the switches are set. This is an option in Trainz. In the right-hand lower corner is my control panel for running the train. I have a DCC control knob for speed, some other functions that I can do, and this is how you control a train in a manual mode in Trainz. This is an aerial view of the Marcus Rail Yard in 1902. You'll see the work extra number 2 coming from Nelson, taking the new 1900 siding off to the right. Train number 259 from Republic and Grand Forks terminated the Y station track, which is the South WGNY track. Train number 256 from Spokane to Nelson, a first-class passenger pulled by engine number 6 of 440, is holding on the original south siding of the yards. We're at the north end of the Marcus yards on the main line. Train number 255 South is arriving at the Marcus station from Nelson at 1:45 p.m. Train 255 will depart the Marcus station as per ETT number 19 at 2 p.m. continuing on to Spokane. Train number 256 North, first class passenger from Spokane to Nelson, will depart Marcus station as per ETT number 19 at 2:15 p.m. And that ends our journey, arriving at the Marcus station and leaving train number 255, continuing to head south. Reference books that were used in this video: Railways of the West Kootenay, Volume 5 by Doskin, Steam Along the Boundary by Turner, Railways of Rothland by MacDonald, Railway Milepost British Columbia Vol. 2 Southern by Burroughs, When Trains Ruled the Kootenays by Gaynor, and the Kettle Valley and its Railways by Rieger. For other simulations on YouTube, you can check the Columbia and Kootenay Railway. YouTube search Trainz CNKR, or the Columbia and Western Railway, search Trainz CNWRR. I hope you enjoy these videos.